What is happening, everybody? Welcome to Sitting with Sean, episode number 23. Yeah, it's 23. Holy crap. It's 23.
Lucky 23.
Yeah, lucky 23. It has a 3 in it. Anyways, guys, so I just, as you can see, I rolled out a new intro video that was made to me by a good friend, Sasha. She made that for me, so I want to give her a shout out and say thank you for making that for me. She's awesome at editing. I couldn't have done that on my best day. But also, you guys are seeing a new background here with the Aurora Borealis and Sitting with Sean logo on the top. I made that. Yeah, I did that. I take pride in that. But anyways, that's not why we're here. Why we're here is a good friend of mine, Brandon Logan. How you doing tonight, Brandon?
I'm doing good. A little whoop from the new job, but living large, Just enjoying all these new experiences I got.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and so Brandon, would you like to give a formal introduction of yourself?
I lost you on audio, bro.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, my GCI is terrible.
Oh.
GCI is terrible, man. But anyways, yeah, would you like to give a formal introduction of yourself?
Yeah, my name is Brandon Logan. I'm in long-term recovery, I guess. I got a little over 7 years sobriety, and I'm 50 years old, married with 2 grown children, and just living life to the best I can up north.
Absolutely. And Brandon, you're in Fairbanks, man.
Yes.
Oh, I have not made the trip up there. You know, people that I know down in lower 48 are like, "Oh, have you been to Fairbanks?" I'm like, no. I don't know that I would ever go.
Don't do it.
No, do you guys get 24 hours of darkness?
Oh, well, about 8, about 20, 22 in the middle. On the 21st, we get about 22 hours. Like when I was in high school, I'd go to school at 7:45 in the morning, and it'd be dark. And when I got out of school at 2:45, it would be dark. You missed it.
That's insane. Yep. In a blink of an eye, it's all gone.
Yep. Just like my first marriage, and we got married on the shortest day of the year, too. December 21st, bro, we got married. It was the shortest marriage ever, 6 months.
Wow. Dang, man. But so I was sitting there, I was laying in bed last night, and like I was like, man, I got Brandon Logan. I was like, he's got 2 first names. And then I was like, wait, no, because his middle name is James. So you got 3 first names. And I was like, oh my God, it's kind of parallel because one of my first soldiers, when I was in the Army, he has 3 first names. His name is Devin Dakota Derrick.
Oh, shit.
Triple D. We called him Triple D.
My grandpa used to say, never trust a man with 2 first names. So.
Oh, what does that say about 3?
Tells you something about my ranking.
Man, you're way down there, dude.
Yeah. Climbing out still, bro.
That's awesome. Yeah, but so real quick before we get into it, I met Brandon. I heard about Brandon through people through AKTCA, and and they said that we got this guy in Fairbanks who was in therapeutic courts, and he wants to be a facilitator, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And then I met Brandon online virtually. We were doing a peer training class, and I looked and I was like, he's got a massive American flag behind him. I don't think I've seen a bigger one.
It was on my grandpa's coffin.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
My dad's is all folded up in a frame up on the wall over there. Yeah,
nice.
They both serve.
Nice. Yeah, and then the first question I asked, I said, are you a veteran? And you said no, but I support vets. And I was like, oh, okay. Awesome. I appreciate that. But yeah, so that was the first thing that I saw, that big ass American flag in the background. I was like, holy cow. That thing is massive. Holy crap. Yeah, but yeah, I met Brandon. He was a really, really insightful man. And like when I mean insightful, he would say, you're a man of few words, but what you do say holds an impact. it is very impactful to me, and I want to say right off the bat, like thank you for everything that you shared with me because that holds weight with me. It
I
really does.
appreciate that. That just tells me to keep spreading the word because people listen sometimes. That
Absolutely,
keeps me going,
absolutely,
brother. So that's the way it works, man.
absolutely,
The wheel.
absolutely. Yep, yep. And before we get into it, I just wanted to give a disclaimer. If I'm coughing and you guys see me coughing, I'm sorry. I'm just getting over COVID. I Today was my first day out of quarantine. It was really bad. I was down and out, and so I'm glad that I didn't have anything scheduled to record in that time frame because I definitely would have looked like death coming into it. Yeah, I would have looked like Skeletor. Um, but all right, so let's get into it. Brandon, what was it like in your active addiction, brother?
Oh man, it was miserable once I realized I was an active addiction. I think I lived my whole I started drinking real young. It was just prevalent in my family. We lived in the middle of nowhere, and when my cousins came over for like Thanksgiving, we'd have a dining room table for the kids. The kids table, but we'd have our own bottle of wine at like 5, 6 years old. And me and my cousins thought of let's see who can take the biggest drink and shit like that all the time. So that was common for me. So I didn't really know what alcoholism looked like. I saw people drink all the time. They laughed, had fun, fell down, pissed you off. They apologized, and that's how I was raised. And I remember I was about oh 25 years old. My daughter was first born. It's Thanksgiving. When I was drinking as usual, and I didn't think much of it. I'd always had a job, maintained a job and shit, and made money. I was okay. I had my own house, and it was the first Thanksgiving I had my mom and stepdad over, and my whole family came from all over, and had the dinner at my house, and it was had the whole family gathered together. And I remember I was drinking fucking permafrost schnapps, dude, 100 proof schnapps, and my stomach started turning, and I went outside to puke. And I remember looking in the window at the dining room and the kitchen, and I see all my family in there having fun, standing around getting pie, and I'm just out there puking. And right there, I thought, maybe you have a problem, or maybe this is going to be a problem, but it never processed. I used to joke about it, like, my daughter's mom left, and I used to date these strippers and shit, and we'd go partying, and I'd wake up in the morning with the shakes, and we'd laugh about it. Oh, we had too much fun last night, whatever, and
Yeah,
it never really processed. But once I honestly realized that and conceded that I was an alcoholic and there was no way around it, and I couldn't get out of it. It was fucking miserable, man. I was doing shit you'd never think that. I like to think I'm a fairly good dude. I'm not a thief and shit, but I took my mom's wedding ring and pawned it.
yeah,
Thank God for the program. That's a long story about step work, but I
yeah,
got through that. But and I used to and I didn't think it was no big deal to take $5 out of my kid's piggy bank to go up and get a half pint and shit like that. I never
yeah,
really. And then it just spitballed. I mean, I'm sure it spitballs for a lot of people. It's just like, holy fuck, I'm in the middle of this spinning wash machine of death, and I can't get out, man. I was at the point at the end. I was drinking just because, so I didn't have a seizure. I didn't want to drink. My mind did not want to drink, but my body was like, dude,
yeah, yeah,
you got about an hour, and you're gonna be doing the funky chicken, and
yeah,
there I am again, and I'll try again tomorrow. And it was just that vicious cycle, man. I was in recovery once for I was sober for like maybe a year. It was a shit recovery, and I went back out, and I ended up drunk doing a bunch of meth, and I had a stroke. Luckily, I was in jail. I got arrested that night being fucked up around town. I don't even remember why I got arrested, but I had the stroke when I was in the drunk tank. And luckily, they were able to get me medical attention so fast. They got me to the hospital, and it turned out it was a mini stroke, they called it. But I still couldn't move my arm for a week. My eye was all droopy, and
yeah,
that wasn't even a wake up call. I still, I'd stayed sober for a couple months after that, but it's just that cutting, baffling, powerful. It's like it's gonna kill you, but You know,
Yeah.
what do you do? You know,
Yeah. Absolutely.
oh,
And you talked about kind of that first introspect, like in a weird way you put it, it makes a lot of sense. Is the outside looking in? You're outside about to vomit, and you look in, you see your family having a good time, and you're like, oh shit, there's something wrong here.
yep,
I think a lot of us like have that, and we have those moments of a sliver of clarity where we look and we say, "Oh shit, something's not right," but it doesn't really click that we need fucking help.
yeah. Yeah,
I've had
25,
that.
25 years old, I was still having fun, honestly, I thought, and I
Yeah,
look back at it, and, there was no fun really involved. There was a few good times, but
yeah,
not genuine fun like I have today, you
yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah. Definitely, definitely, man. And you talked about the shakes and like seizures and stuff like that, man. And that took me back to a time, and I haven't even talked about this. So thank you for bringing that up. I didn't believe that like that withdrawal was a thing when I was younger, like especially a young dad at the age of like 22, 23. I didn't believe withdrawals were a real thing, at least from alcohol, until I was at home and my uncle was there. My uncle was a really bad alcoholic, and actually, him and I have the same sobriety date.
Wow.
Yep, same year, everything, different states. We hadn't talked to each other. We just decided, boom, it's that time.
Light
Well,
bulb.
I didn't decide that it was that time. He did. I was in jail, but that's neither here nor there. So I'm in North Carolina, and he's over my house, and I had one rule in my house because at that time I was sober, but I wasn't. I was a dry drunk. I fucking hated everybody. I wasn't working a program, but he was laying on my couch, and my mom comes in and says, "Sean, you got to do something." And I walk in there, and he's in convulsions on my couch, and my grandma comes back and starts feeding him alcohol. I was like, "Dude, I told you no." Like that. She's like, "He could die," and I was like, "No, he can't. Yeah, there's no way he can die." And but I didn't. I was so ignorant to the fact that is a real thing,
Mhm.
and that withdrawals are almost more dangerous than the actual use itself.
Yep. I was amazed when I read, alcohol is really the only drug that can kill you from the withdrawals itself. I mean, I know heroin's deadly and it'll kill you from withdrawals also, but alcohol will do. And I was blown away. I was like, what? And
Yeah.
it's funny you say that about the shakes and stuff. After I got out of that relationship with that girl and whatnot, I thought to myself, I'm not really a real alcoholic. And then I read somewhere that if you drink a half pint of hard alcohol a day, your body will become physically addicted to it. And my dumb ass, for whatever reason, was like challenge accepted,
Yeah.
and there I would, and that's how that started the physical addiction of it, where I knew I was physically addicted, but yet I wasn't ready to. Well, another part of that story was I tried to get sober at one point, and I decided I'm going to get married. And
Mm,
that was my 6 month marriage. I met her
yeah.
online. We got married, and I thought she's going to get me sober. Was my whole idea. If I get married and I get all my shit together, and no, bro.
Yeah. No, definitely not. Definitely not. I tried that shit too. Well, not I didn't try getting married to get sober. I was already married at that point. Number one and two of three. Um, but yeah, I always was like, oh, as long as I have this person, I'll stay sober. And then when they walked away, it all dissipated. It all
Hmm.
was kind of like, and that's really the hard part is because like I see so many people that want to enter into recovery, or so many people that are in recovery that are putting their recovery on other people, and saying, I'm sober for this person. Okay, well, what happens when that person either leaves or, God forbid, something bad happens to them?
My wife's also sober. And we work two different programs, bro. We don't intermingle our programs, and
Yeah,
it's healthy.
yeah,
It's
it
healthy for my
is.
recovery and hers.
Yeah, absolutely. So what is it that led you into recovery?
Um, well, like I said, I had a Hinkling. I was an alcoholic, and I was spending one of my stints in jail, and I decided I was gonna try not to drink when I got out of jail, and I went to an AA meeting in jail, and I went to this meeting, and it was a funny thing because the jail up here, there's a lot of people in there, really. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
small town, but there's a lot of people, and it was the two guys running the meeting and me, nobody else. And I thought to myself, out of all the people in this jail, I can't be the only fucking alcoholic in here. And we talked and did the meeting, and they told me, well, when you get out, I was only spending like 2 weeks or something, one of my little short stints, and they're like, come to this meeting when you get out. It's Wednesday night at the Lutheran Church down in the basement. You can't miss it. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go. And I went to that meeting, and it was a podium meeting, and I coincidentally sat next to a guy that had Tourette's, and he was doing his Tourette's thing, and it was freaking me out. And I'm really not good. I'm still not really good in front of people. I could do it, but they wanted me to get up in front of everybody and say, I'm Brandon, I'm an alcoholic. And that scared the shit out of me. I mean, I did it, and I sat down and I shook the whole time I was there. And I didn't go to another meeting for till another one of my down in the dumps days. My buddy of mine I used to party with all the time. He had got managed to piece together like 2 years of recovery, and he saw how bad I was at, and he says, "Hey man, I'm going to NA now. You want to go to a meeting with me?" And I thought, let's try this again. And I did the NA thing for a while, but that's when I realized I'm not just a drug addict. I'm an alcoholic because I'd stopped all the drugs, but the alcohol I just couldn't stop. So, but that's what started me on my path in my 12-step recovery. I mean, that's not when I got sober. I mean, I've been coming to AA since I was like 28, 30, and I'm 50
Yeah.
years old now. I pieced together 7 years finally.
Yeah.
So, but it is what it is.
Yeah. You kind of took away my question or you already answered it. But one question I do have is, with your experience in the rooms, what do you think is the biggest deterrent from people coming into the rooms or staying in the rooms?
The biggest deterrent people come in, I would say, would be their ego. They're just afraid to come in, just like I was.
Hmm.
I still remember the first meeting. The dude standing at the door shaking my hand, and I'm like, whoa. And but it wasn't, that was not probably my second meeting. It wasn't the
Yeah.
speak. This was years later, but yeah, I would say themselves as their own block. But I've heard some weird stuff. Like I got a cousin a second. My cousin's kid actually. He's a younger kid, and we were talking a couple years ago, and he drinks a lot. And he's like, I thought about going to AA, and I was like, well, you should check it out. Why not? He's down in Arizona. He's like, well, I don't know if I can afford it. I was like, what?
What?
What, dude? It's free. You have nothing to lose. Just
Yeah.
check yourself and walk in and sit down, and and it to me it was really hard at first. Getting comfortable in the rooms and getting to know people because I kind of looked at it like it was some weird churchy shit, and I
Yeah.
was real standoff at church, and I finally gave it a chance, and
Yeah.
it's a huge part of my life now. I mean, I
Yeah.
wouldn't be here right now without it.
Yeah. I can relate, or I can understand where you're talking about the ego. My first meeting that I went to was a speaker meeting, and it was in Erie, Pennsylvania, where I grew up with my dad and my stepmom and my brother. And I was probably 20. Nah, I was probably about 18, 19, 20 at the time. I was drinking, but I wasn't. I hadn't been drinking that day. And the speaker at that meeting was my dad.
Shit.
I didn't want to have to hear anything what he had to say. You know what I mean? I
Yeah,
went as a support for him, but I didn't want to hear a damn thing that he had to say. And I only went because he invited me. And then I started looking around. And I was like, man, all these people have a fucking problem. I don't know if you encountered this where you're like, all these people have a fucking problem, and I don't have it. I don't have it. But I'm sitting there, and I am my own problem.
yeah, Yeah,
Did
we
you
are.
did you ever get to that point where you're like everybody else has a problem and not me?
You know, before I got in the rooms, definitely. You know,
Mm,
it was like, it's not a problem. I'm fine. It's hurting you because you're letting it hurt. You're reacting that way. I'm doing just fine.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The one thing that I notice that's a deterrent is when I talk to people and I say I give them they say, oh well, what would you do if you were in my situation? And I was like, well, I'm not gonna tell you what I would do, but I'm gonna tell you what I did and what helped me out. And I bring up AA and they're like, oh well, I can't deal with the God thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's a small fraction of the whole part of it. Like that's a piece of it, and that if you're going to not give it a chance because of that small piece,
Hmm.
then you're robbing yourself of something that can help you. But hey, in your own time when you're ready, if you're ready, if you ever get to that point.
Yep.
Have you ever encountered that where people be like, oh, it's the God thing, I can't do it.
Yeah, actually, there's a he's a really close friend of mine now. I sponsored him when he first came around, and I've never met this man face to face. My wife has. He lives in Ohio. I met him. I do a support group on Facebook, and there's like 5,000 people. And I also smoke cigars, and I was in a cigar group, and I had posted a coin, and he asked me how I did it. He's
Hmm.
messaged me, and I told him. And turns out he wasn't an alcoholic. He was addicted to OxyContin and whatnot. Wasn't a down on the bottoms guy, but he knew he had a problem, and he asked me how I did it. And I told him, and he read the book, and he had hit that God wall. A lot of people hit that God wall, and he's atheist or whatever, and I
Hmm.
said, it just got to be something bigger than what you are right now, dude. Anything, and he came into his inner self, he called it, and he
Hmm.
pulled from that, and he had the biggest balls ever, man. He told his family straight up what they had no clue. They were clueless. And he sat down the day after Christmas and told them, "Hey, I have a problem. I'm going to be sick for about a week. Hang with me. I'll be okay." And was about 5, 6 years almost. He's sober still, and doing really
Nice.
well. And I talk to him every day, pretty much. I love the man to death, and
Hmm.
it's. But that was, it's possible, but it's all up here, really. I mean, a lot of that, you just got to let go and surrender, man.
Yeah.
I mean, bottom line, this last time around when I surrendered, it was at gunpoint by 6 cops, and I surrendered spiritually, mentally, and physically. And,
Yeah.
it's been a wonderful experience, honestly.
Yeah.
It's been a beautiful thing for me, I mean, a
Yeah.
lot of bad stuff's happened in my sobriety this time, but, bottom line, I'm still sober and I love it.
Yeah.
I can't imagine life any other. I can't say that. I can't imagine life any other way because I think about how life used to be all the time,
Yeah.
and I just can't believe I used to be like that. Like, it blows me away sometimes the shit I used to do and the person I am today. It's just like, wow, and but that's not AA either. I've been I've been to
You've been around
wellness
the block.
I've been to wellness court twice, bro. So I went through treatment, didn't learn a thing besides you got to open up and you got to listen.
Yep.
And the second time around, dude, I was like a sponge, and I still work with the folks. I love the people. That's where I met you. I
Yeah.
mean, I love the
Yeah.
people here. And it's just another piece of my recovery. Because it's for me. When I started doing that facilitation classes, I was at a
Hmm.
point in my recovery. I was just coming up on my 50th birthday. I turned 50 the day after I got my certificate, actually.
Oh
And
wow.
I was at a spot in my recovery where I was feeling stale, and I thought, what more can you do with my sponsees? I got a couple, but I don't really have them that do a lot of them. I'm just a signature sponsor for some, and that's
Yeah.
okay with me. But I needed to put some more effort into recovery somehow, and that was an outlet for me to do it. And my sponsor tells me, you got to get outside yourself and do things you're not comfortable with, and hence me sitting here now. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
but I've experienced beautiful things being uncomfortable. I mean, I just
Yeah.
started a new job on Monday, and it's something I was at my last job for almost 12 years. I was comfortable where I was at, and it just got to be uncomfortable. And I learned that in recovery.
Yeah.
What was it I was told? nothing changes if nothing changes. You
Yeah.
have to institute the change. If you've tried everything else and it's not working for you, do something about it. And I did something about it. I quit. And I have a new
Hmm.
job now, and I'm learning, and it's a scary experience. It's uncomfortable. Today was my second day, and I got tons of paperwork I do. And it's it's growth.
Yeah.
And growth is uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Honestly, at least for me, I mean, if I'm uncomfortable, I'm probably growing somehow or trying to learn something. Like
Hmm.
bad situations come up sometimes, and I recovery's taught me to ask, what can I learn from this? That
Yeah.
that wasn't me before, man. I was mad at that, and I was gonna smash something or fix it. I mean,
Yeah.
but now it's life, and it happens to everybody, not just me, man.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that was an eye opener. Everybody has shit happen to them, not just you.
Yeah, yeah. The one thing that really got me when I was in the when I first started recovery is they were like, "Oh, don't get comfortable." Why not? Why can't I get comfortable? I got to get in the groove of things. I got to get in the swing of things. I have to be. They're like, because if you make yourself comfortable, you open yourself up for relapse. And
Mhm.
I was like, no, because I know I'm not going to drink. Well, that was a misconception, because any given any given point, you'd be like, oh shit, today's the day, and relapse.
Well,
But I go ahead.
oh, it's funny you said today's the day. The one thing I always thought in my recovery, is what's gonna kill me is my mom dies. And
Yeah.
I was 3 weeks away from my third sobriety birthday, and my mom had been sick for 6 weeks with me taking care of her, and she died. And you know what? I didn't drink, bro.
Yeah.
I went to a meeting immediately.
That's
I
amazing.
just didn't want to be there. And I covered my own ass in a lot of ways in that period of my life. My wife went out of town 2 days later. She had work to do, training stuff.
Mm.
She was, and I wanted to go camping to get away, but I knew I had to drive by two liquor stores
Yeah.
to get to where I wanted to camp. And I didn't trust myself to drive by those liquor stores. So I had a friend I'd met in wellness court, and I called him up. And I said, "Hey, man, I got to go camping, but I'm afraid to go by these stores. And he goes, "I'll
Mm.
tell you what, I'll follow you out there. I'll come back to town when I get off work. I'll come back out and I'll spend a couple days with you." You know,
Hell yeah.
and I have to do stuff like that to cover my own ass,
Yeah.
because I want to be sober. I want life, and I don't want to jinx myself. When I got out of jail this last time and got my ankle monitor off and shit, I
Hmm.
walked up to the liquor stores 3/4 of a mile away where I always went, and I showed them my red stripe and my ID, and I told them, "Do not sell me alcohol, no matter what I tell you." And they
Yeah.
looked at me like I was fucking retarded or something. And I'm like, I'm just, and now they ask me to see my new coin every year. They're like, "Hey, let me see your coin," and
That's awesome.
but you got to be proactive in your recovery. You can always learn new stuff, always pick up new tools.
Yeah.
It's a daily and a lifelong thing for me. I have to live recovery every day. I have to breathe it. I have to talk to somebody in recovery every day. I mean,
Yeah.
if I don't, it don't work. I've proven that to myself.
Yeah. One of the things that I noticed for myself about getting out of my comfort zone and being uncomfortable is being around people that drink. Not necessarily stepping out and being like, "Oh shit, let me put myself in the middle of this club because I know that I put myself." But so, for instance, last year when Foo Fighters came up here, I love Foo Fighters, man. Like one of my favorite bands. I love Dave Grohl. Love their music ever since I was a kid. I got free tickets to the show, and I was like, "That's awesome." But I know there's going to be alcohol around me, and mind you, I'm only a year and a half into my recovery at that point. I'm already graduated therapeutic court, but I'm like, if I put myself in the middle of this crowd, it could be bad. Little was I thinking that everybody that supported me was gonna be there, right? So I had I got our free tickets from from my music therapist.
Oh, nice.
You know, we had about almost every single one of our members that are in my jam group were there, and they all support me. None of them drank. So being there and stepping out of my comfort zone was actually a huge benefit for me because I didn't have to worry about everybody drinking around me. I could worry about, or I could focus on having a good time
Hmm.
and listening to the music and all that stuff. And so yeah, sometimes stepping out, or a lot of times stepping out of our comfort zone really benefit us in ways that are awesome. And I'm glad that you have friends that are able to do that for you, man. That's pretty awesome.
It's funny you brought that up. It just reminded me. My best friend of 30 years. He's a normie. He has a couple
Mm-hmm.
drinks every now and then, and but he's always was there with me when I was drunk. For some reason, we're still friends. But anyway, we were down in Anchorage last week, and I was visiting my daughter. We were visiting his daughter and grandkids, and we all went to Beyond Van Gogh together. And after that, we went out to dinner, and he had two margaritas with his dinner. I'm driving, so it's no big deal. But we get back to where we were staying, and we were sitting in the truck, and he's smoking a cigarette. And this is like 45 minutes, an hour later, and I'm like, "Where the hell is that smell of booze coming from?" I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
"What the fuck?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, I had margaritas," and I was like, "Holy shit, I totally forgot," And
Yeah.
it used to worry me that I couldn't be around people drinking, and it's finally it's like it just dawned on me last week, and that like it didn't even phase me until I smelled it. I was like, that's weird, but it wasn't a trigger or anything, but it just I forgot about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what alcohol is to me now. In one ear and out the other. Thank God.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like a fleeting thought.
Yep.
Yeah. So what led you into therapeutic court the second time, where where it stuck and you were like, "Yep, fuck it. This is what I need to do."
I well, I was looking at 7 years in prison. I was 42 years old. I was looking at getting out when I was 50 almost. My daughter was just starting college. I wanted to see her graduate, and I also at that point the let's back up a little bit to it though. The night I got arrested, I had been trying to quit drinking for a week straight. I'd been trying for longer than that, but a week I was giving it some serious motion. And that day, I woke up and I wanted to drink. And a friend called me out of the blue and said, "Hey, can you babysit my kid for me?" She was 4, this little girl. So I thought, perfect, there's I ain't gonna drink babysitting somebody's kid. So I went babysat all day. I'm broke. I ain't got no money. Had a good time babysitting. I thought I was home free, bro. I'm gonna go
Mm-hmm.
home. I'm gonna be fine. And she gave me $10. I went to the store. I got 4 shots of 100 proof snap bananas, 99 bananas out of all goddamn things, and a bag of rollies for $10. I went in the woods. I drank those 4 shots. I went home, checked my mail. I had a check in the mail. I'm already got the cravings going. So I went and cashed the check at the local bank. Went to the store, got a pint, a big one. Took off on got geared up in full camo with 2 guns. Went out on my 4 wheeler, and I went at my buddy's cabin, and he was home, and we got drunk. And I was sitting there that night. I met him in sobriety, but he was drinking again, obviously. But
Yeah.
I was telling him, I'm not even happy anymore unless I'm at least a .20, at least 224
Yeah.
or something. And I finished that bottle, and I got on the 4 wheeler to go home, and I stopped at the dump to look for some pop cans to shoot on my way home. And somebody called the cops on me, said I was acting hostile with an assault rifle. Uh, Next thing I know, so I woke up in jail that morning in the drunk tank yet again, but this time it was different. I I was comfortable, man. It was like it's like when you wake up from a long sleep, kind of you're just like lay in bed for a little bit and you can breathe.
Mm-hmm.
I knew I was safe for myself that day. I couldn't get out and drink no matter what, and then I found out I had no bail, so
Mm-hmm.
I'm not getting out. I was already on probation for an assault. So, I sat there and they asked me, "Hey, you want to try to get in wellness court?" I was like, I already graduated that once. And the lady was like, "Oh, you're screwed then." I was like, "Yeah, I know." And she came back a week later and was like, "Well, I found out you can apply if you want. You know, there's somebody in there that's been in there before. It doesn't hurt to apply." And I thought, there's my chance. I was at the right state in my mind where I didn't want to live like that no more, but yet again, I didn't know how to live, and I
Yeah.
was ready to be rebooted. And
Mm-hmm.
I poured my heart out on that application this time. It wasn't bullshit coded like the first one. It was, I want to live, basically, is what it summed up. I don't want to die. I didn't want to drive again. I didn't care about any of that shit. I wanted to learn how to live a normal life like I see all these people doing, and I didn't have the tools to do that. But I'd been through wellness court once, and I knew they offered the tools, but my dumbass didn't pick them up, take them with me. So
Yeah.
they let me in, and I got out of jail onto an ankle monitor, and I got into wellness court in October, end of October, and man, I gave it my all, bro. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
everything. I was like the nerd in school, front row. Teacher pick me, and
Yeah.
helping people with their homework and shit, and mentoring people, and just getting into it, because what else have I got to do?
Yeah.
I'm die, go to jail, and I've been told, jail's death and institutions, and then somebody explained it to me. Well, institutions and jails are just the pit stops. You're gonna die.
Yeah.
So I decided just to jump into it, man, and I still go back. I still see my counselor to this day.
Mm-hmm.
5 years later, I told him last session that I was like the herpes. I just keep coming back. You never know, but I got, so when there's an issue, I flare up. And
Yeah.
but it's a great program, and it's. I wish people would take advantage of it. I mean, like, there's so many people out there still, like I was. But
Mm-hmm.
there's people that amaze you too. I mean,
Oh yeah.
I've got some amazing friends in there. Not just from this go around, but I've got some amazing friends that stuck with it from the last time. You
Yeah.
know, and that's pretty crazy. That we build those bonds, and that I was another one. I didn't know how to have normal friends. I had drinking buddies and drug buddies, but I didn't have a friend I could talk to. And I got that in there. I got that in AA, and AA came with AKTCA.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the full meal deal. You just got
Yeah.
to eat it, and then you got to
Absolutely.
take your supplements and keep taking your supplements, man. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a disease. You got to treat it, and it's like diabetes. You got to take your insulin and shit every day. My stepdad was diabetic, and he didn't take care of himself, and he died.
Yeah.
And we're alcoholics, or I am. I can't only speak for myself, but I got to treat that every day. And
Yeah.
I do that through. I never really got into. I never sat down and wrote a routine for my day, but it just, with recovery comes your routine, and then you realize, oh shit, I do have a routine. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember years ago hearing in the meeting talking about how, oh, my favorite time of day is when I just go out in the woods and walk my dog and just get out of myself. And I always thought, that's fucking crazy. You know what my favorite time of day is now? When I go walk my dog. I love that time. She probably got
Yeah.
to come at me now because I said that word, but I mean, it's, you learn that shit. It's almost like karate, subliminally, and it just sticks with you. It's like
Yeah.
reflex after a while. And it's, you repel from it like a hot flame, as they say.
Yeah. 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 It's it's about creating that schedule and that repetition, and then
Yeah.
finding what works for you because not everything works for us, right? So like I've tried a whole bunch of stuff in my recovery. I was like, oh, I have aspirations to be an artist. Come on, I can't draw for a goddamn. Okay, like I know this. I tried. It's not working for me, and all I do at the end of the day is get frustrated. So it's not worth it. But I know I do know that those 5 or 10 minutes prior to everybody getting up is what gets me peace.
That,
You know.
bringing that up, that reminds me another thing that's really important to my recovery, at least. And I see it in a lot of other people too. Is you gotta have a hobby, man.
Yeah.
Or at least something you're passionate about to keep your mind and hands busy. Because mine, it just happens to be making knives, and I started doing that when I was drunk, and I made shitty knives when I was drunk. But
Yeah.
when I do it now, it's like I go into a, like, meditation. Nothing in the, my house could burn down around me, and as long as my pants ain't on fire and I'm throwing sparks, I'm not thinking about. drunk. I'm not thinking about drinking. I'm not thinking about paying bills. I'm not thinking about the shit I owe. I'm not thinking about what I got to do tomorrow. I'm just thinking about what's in front of me. And that's a great tool. It's
Yeah.
just it's like a drug almost, not just it's like a mind eraser. You just beep reset. You know.
Yep. You replace that substance with something that's healthy,
Mm-hmm.
and that healthy thing kind of creates a more useful and more beneficial therapeutic experience for you.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. So, what about what do you think was the most beneficial part of therapeutic court? Like, if it was a program, if it was the interaction with the judge, what do you think that it was for you?
I think the most important thing for me was learning about myself, and that I was the cause of a lot of my problems. 99.9% of them, I'd say. And that was the biggest thing for me out of that. It's just you really get into yourself, and you know, it, I mean, there's so many things. MRT, I could go on about
Yeah.
MRT, drawing our little stick figures, I mean, all that fun stuff, and the set, the setting goals was real big for me because they had you set your yearly goal. And one thing I learned this time around is I set realistic goals. Not I wanted Learjet and $1 million, and I think my
Yeah.
first one was I wanted a bigger TV, and I had that before I graduated wellness court. And another one was like I wanted a camper and a boat, and I got all that shit on the schedule. That was my 5-year time plan. I got all that. I'm sitting in a house I bought now. But I set another one after that. You just keep setting obtainable goals, and that was infinite for me. And another huge one was boundaries. I
Oh
I,
yeah.
I knew nothing about boundaries,
Yeah.
and I boundaries is why I quit my job. I finally learned. I can't say I learned. I'm learning. I mean,
Yeah.
I'll never get it completely, but and I still go over my relapse prevention plan. I pull that out every 3-4 months just to I like to check myself before I wreck myself, just
Yeah.
to look for any symptoms, you got any sneezing, shit
Yeah.
like that, I mean,
Yeah.
there's so many pieces to the wellness court puzzle. I mean, going to court, I mean, I got to go to a judge's retirement thing and say a few words to him when he retired, and he was the judge I had twice, both times at wellness court,
Wow.
and this was after I graduated, so I got to show to him that what he did make a difference,
Yeah.
and I would have never had that opportunity in not being in wellness court. I see a judge before I'd run, know,
Mm-hmm.
and now I'm like, thank you,
Yeah.
I mean, those people literally saved my life, I mean, I had a little to do with it by giving up, but I mean, I mean, man, wellness court, wow, I mean, I still wonder about what it'd be like to go through it again. If
Yeah.
not reoffending, but just seeing what
Yeah.
more I could learn. To see if, but
Yeah. Yeah, you were talking about MRT, man, and I absolutely loved MRT. At first, I hated it, dude. That step one killed me. Step one killed me, and but I started to learn to love it. And after I started loving it, I started getting things from it. You know what I mean? Like I
yeah,
started being able to obtain some of those things. Like goal setting is one of them. One that I'm working on right now that I've been absolutely terrible with my whole life is time management. And you would say you're in the army. How is time management something that you're terrible at? You should see my life in the army. You know what I mean? But like time management for me, I so doing this podcast and this is a little insight for anybody watching that doesn't know, or even you, Brandon. But scheduling for me has always been a hard thing. Uh, I've always kind of been the fly by the seat of your pants kind of guy, where it was like all the good things happen when it's unexpected, right? It's not necessarily the case, but I kind of translated that into my recovery, right? So like I was like, oh, I'll keep the schedule of everything that's happening, all my appointments, But the rest of my time, it's just wild. It's buck wild. It's crazy. And when I started this podcast, as addicts or alcoholics, we can't do anything with moderation. It's super hard to do things with moderation, right? So when I started doing this podcast, a lot of people started seeing like a lot of episodes were boom, 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 boom. But that's not how they were being recorded. I was recording 3, 4, 5 episodes in a day, and that takes a lot out. So now, and I went down to Nashville for NADCP, and I realized like I was running myself into the ground. So moderation and time management have to be essential for me. So now I stick to 2 episodes a week, whether uh, you know, Tuesdays and Thursdays I record. Sometimes if need be, if somebody's like, hey, I cannot fit on either one of those days, I'll put them on a Wednesday as well. But that's it. Like I don't step out of my boundaries. Well, I don't overstep my boundaries to myself because, and those are boundaries again. We've all been horrible with boundaries too. So I set a boundary with myself, and I have to make sure I maintain that boundary. And if I, because if I don't maintain that boundary, I'm going to end up harming myself, which in turn is going to harm other people.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, being in wellness court, that was one of the things that taught you just being in there was time management, man.
Yeah,
You know, I
yeah,
mean, I don't think I could do what I'm doing now if I wasn't, learned all that. I juggled 2 jobs and I volunteer with wellness court and I go to my meetings, and I do my thing and I still maintain to be me, you
yeah,
know, and
yeah,
that's the important, the balance, you got to take care of yourself because you can't take care of nobody else because if you don't take care of yourself, you're going to break down,
yeah. Yeah, and life was even crazy, and the kids hadn't even started school yet. You know what I mean? And with with the whole bus mishap that's happening now, I gotta take the kids to school, and so like that takes even more time away. And so so now I'm really looking at time management. On top of that, I'm gonna be volunteering at my youngest school to help them out in certain times of day. So like time management is crucial for me at this moment. And if I don't make it crucial, then life is gonna start spiraling out of control, and I can't have that happen.
Yep.
Absolutely. So what are you doing now? What are you doing now to maintain your sobriety? I know we talked a lot about what it was like in therapeutic court, but what are you doing now to maintain your sobriety?
Um, I got my home group I'm active in. I go there every week. I got some sponsees I work with. Me and just 4 other guys. Me and so 5 of us total. We admin a Facebook group with 5,000 members from all over the world. I won't give a plug, but it's a recovery group, and
You can give a plug.
it's called Recovery Hope versus Dope.
I like it.
But you know, I can't say I have a routine, because I find myself, I work the 2 jobs, so I don't really know what time I'll ever be home, and I got a damn German Shepherd that is needy as all hell. So it's, but if I find time in the night where I'm like, oh, it's 7:30, I could hit a meeting. I'll go to a meeting, and I I call people every day, and another big one for my recovery is I changed sponsors about 3 years ago. My sponsor that I originally had, I've known him since I first came into AA. Like 18 years ago, I met him the first time, and he sponsored me when I was in jail. He was running the jail meetings out in North Star Center, not jail, and I worked the steps with him. But he didn't have a cell phone, and
Oh wow.
I was pretty needy in my early recovery. I needed
Mm-hmm.
someone, and there was another guy after I'd been sober for a few years. They told you to look for somebody that has something you want, and this guy, he had a wife that's handicapped. My wife is also handicapped. We have the little sticker in the window. She
Mm-hmm.
begs to differ otherwise because she's so independent and strong, but. And he also wore pajamas to meetings, and that was something that I liked. And I could see myself a lot in him. And he was always at a meeting, so I knew if I couldn't get a hold of him on a phone, I knew he was going to be at every night at 8 o'clock. He never misses a
Mm-hmm.
meeting. And
Mm-hmm.
that was another thing that I make sure he's accessible at all times. He
Yeah.
has a home phone, he has a cell phone, but I try not to. When I got him this time, I said I'm a pretty low maintenance sponsee now, but I just need somebody that's accessible so shit hits the fan because you know early recovery. I like they tell you to reach out, when you get overwhelmed, whatnot. And I finally took the advice one night. I had ripped apart my shop because I got some new tools and I was making this bigger and better shop, and I got overwhelmed. So I called my sponsor, and he said, "How do you eat an elephant one bite at a time?" And so I just wanted to be able to access that boundless information when I
Yeah.
needed to. And
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and I like all the people I talk to on a daily basis are in recovery. I do have some friends that aren't in recovery, but I don't talk to them every day. I have
Yeah.
the one friend I had talked about. We talk, spend a lot of time together, but for the most part, it's all recovery community. I mean,
Yeah.
and I've learned you don't have to talk about recovery every day when you call someone either. You can just, hey, how's your day, bro? And
Yeah.
just bullshit, and it keeps the lines open so when something does happen, you can call.
Yeah.
I mean, so yeah, I got my little routine I do. I get up
Yeah.
in the morning and I'm powerless and I look upstairs and say, hey, what are we going to get into today? But it's not a real. You know, I, that's funny. I just thinking about that my routine. I have my little routine I was just telling you, but the other night I broke away from my routine.
Hmm.
I'm not a big prayers guy. I talk to the dude upstairs all the time, throw ideas by him and just there's an open line of communication there. But I'm not a kneeling guy. I
Yeah.
just another night I was found myself on my knees in front of the couch for some reason. I was getting something off the floor, and the couch was at the right height when my arms just rest on it. And I was
Hmm.
starting my first day at work on Monday. It was a Sunday night, and I decided to get on my knees and I always when I pray, I try not to pray for myself. I pray
Yeah.
for others.
Hmm.
But this time I asked not for prosperity or anything, but just for strength to get into work and not have a lot of anxiety and get through the day like a normal functioning human should.
Yeah.
And I got a little tear in my eye, and it made me feel better. And you know what? My prayer might have been answered because Monday I pulled up to the parking spot at my new job, saw the door was open, and I just walked in. I'm Brandon. Where's Jack? And we started the day, and it wasn't. I
Yeah.
wasn't like, it was just. It was comfortable. It felt natural, which I've pulled up on the first day of a job before and turned around and fucking went home.
Yeah.
And they called me. We saw you on the security camera. Why'd you go home? And I come up with some dumb excuse. Oh, my kid was sick. That's back when my
Yeah.
kid lived at home. But
Hmm.
I get anxiety like that, and I didn't get it this time. And
That's awesome.
I think it's a lot of things compounded, but that I think that added to it.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah.
It's pretty awesome. Um, so how did you come? How'd you hear about AKTCA?
um, from Wellness Court,
Mm.
I talked with Amy in town. She's the director up here, and she
Hmm.
had brought it up a few times. And my old probation officer, he's retired now. Me and him are still friends, and he had mentioned that that they had this AKTCA going, and I might be interested in checking into it. Amy did the same thing, and yeah, I just reached out, and said, hey, I basically, I think it was Ron I talked to the first time. I said,
Hmm.
hey, I'm Brandon. I'm willing to do whatever you guys need in Fairbanks, but I don't know what I'm doing, honestly. I don't know what I can do, but I can help you. You can help
Yeah.
me help others, and
Hmm.
it just kind of it's grown from there. It's pretty cool.
That is awesome.
It's pretty cool, but yeah,
It.
I didn't realize that they had so much available in. Like, I didn't know there's peer support groups. I mean, I've been out of wellness court for 5 years. I
Yeah.
didn't know I could just join a group on Zoom at any time. I was really anti Zoom for a long time, though. But
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't know that, and it's something I might have taken advantage of if and I guess it was just luck of the draw. I was communicated that, or maybe my ears opened at the right time, or my spam mail didn't delete it or something. I
Yeah.
don't know, but I, I can't tell you how thankful I am because I feel like I got a whole new family. Because I know everybody's done exactly what I did. We went through the calling in every morning, see if you got to
Hmm.
pee. writing permission to do the most ridiculous stuff. Like I had to get written permission from a judge to ride a driving tractor lawnmower at work. Not a big tractor, but just a little driving
Yeah.
lawnmower, to mow the yards. And so I know
Yeah.
everybody's been there, done that, so they get it. So it's it's like an icebreaker for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I honestly I don't make new friends easy. I don't
Hmm.
open up, and when I see somebody like in AA or AKTCA, I know they've been there, done that. We got that bond, and I can talk like I'm talking now. I feel
Hmm.
on that level in the same plane, and I don't feel belittled. I don't feel above. It's just we're there.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
we,
We're all equal.
Yep. I mean, there's wellness court, man. There's people that didn't have jobs when they got there, people that are lawyers when they got there. I
Yeah.
mean, and they all mix together.
Yeah. That's the crazy thing, man, is like I didn't know how big the therapeutic courts actually were. Like, I mean, obviously I seen in Alaska like they're pretty big. But I went to Nashville and 50 states, all 50 states represented with alumni from a majority of the states coming together saying that they want to start their own program. And that made me realize like holy crap, we're not just in Alaska, we're all over the place and we all have this one thing in common, and it's pretty awesome to see. And it's
Yeah.
pretty
Like,
cool to see like everybody from just Alaska getting together and doing their thing, because you realize how different we all are, how diverse we all are, but how much we're the same, and we got this one common goal in mind.
I'll tell you, just going to Anchorage on that trip, I went down there and saw you guys. It really opened my eyes at how big it is out. I mean, just what you guys have compared to Fairbanks.
Yeah.
Holy crap, bro! I mean, I'm not dogging on us. We just don't
Yeah.
have the veterans court. We don't have,
Yeah.
all the other. We have, the drug court, and I think we just started the veterans court, and
Yeah.
then the felony DUI court.
Yeah.
We're a little behind you guys. Like our barbecue that I went to, there's like 30, 40 people. But I realize
Hmm.
Anchorage's a huge city too. But
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
and the Fairbanksons are a little different too. Honestly,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
don't they, they don't open up to new things too well. So
Yeah.
you got to
Yeah.
grease that wheel a little bit up here. Feed them or something.
Fairbanks is a tradition.
Yep.
Fairbanks is a tradition, and it's hard to open up to new things, to brand new things. I can understand that,
That's one
but
thing I've been so blessed with. This is the town I drank in, drugged in, and got sober in, and managed to stay sober. I see a lot of people have to move to do that, and I love the fact that I can still go to my old places that mean something to me.
yeah,
They're still there. They're still not just pictures I have to look at because I'm living somewhere else because I can't be here.
absolutely,
I don't take that for granted.
yeah, yeah, and then you get to be around people that have seen every phase of your life, and they remember the dumbass Brandon, but they remember the Brandon now who's a million times better than the person he used to be.
Yes, sir.
And that's important. That's important for people to see growth.
Yep.
Absolutely. So before we close up shop, quick question: if there was somebody that was suffering, or somebody that was thinking about getting in recovery or into the wellness court, what advice or suggestion would you offer them?
Just do it. Honestly, I mean, you have nothing to lose. Like they say in the room, sometimes your refund can be refunded. Your misery can be refunded.
Yeah.
I mean, give it a try. I mean, it's hard. It's a lot of work, but you get out of it. I mean, tenfold what you put into it. I mean, I never thought I would be where I'm at right now. I still can't believe I'm just a drunk. I still think of myself like that. I can look at myself in the mirror now, but but just do it. I mean, you got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
have a good life. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
You
there.
got you got the world to gain, nothing to lose.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember that, man. I I can't tell you how many times I've asked myself why me, and I don't know if you've gotten to that point where you're like, why are all these good things happening? But I know the answer.
We, Speaking of good things happening out of the blue, just out of the blue, last Thursday night, a friend of mine calls me, longtime friend. It's actually my mom's friend. My mom's
Mm-hmm.
passed away, but he says, "Are you home?" And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "I'm going to bring you something."
Mm-hmm.
I said, "Okay." It's like 10 o'clock at night. He comes over with a box, still taped up, brand new. I open it up. There's a forge in it.
Oh wow.
You know, that would have never happened. It wasn't my birthday. It wasn't Christmas.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know why to this day I'm still dumbfounded. It's like the 9 step promises. I don't
Yeah.
know if you're familiar with those, but
Yep.
sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly. Like
Yep.
like I tell the people, don't quit before the miracle happens.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I don't. What baffles me is that people give up when things aren't going great. Or no, sorry. They give up when things are going great, and they're like, "Oh, I got it, and I got it in my pocket, dude. I'm fine. I got this."
I can hear Morgan Freeman, and in fact, he was not fine.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's the thing is like we quit before the good things actually really start happening,
But
and I'm so glad that I haven't quit.
yeah, but that's why I don't want to quit. I mean, good shit's happening, but it's not going to quit if I don't quit. Just get through the bad. I mean, it's just life. Everybody,
Yeah,
like I said earlier, it happens to everybody. Just it's what you do with it. It's not how you act or you don't react. You just
yeah, yeah. Absolutely. All right, Brandon. So I want to thank you for hanging out with me for this hour.
I appreciate it. Thank you. I had a good
Thank
time.
you, thank you for sharing your story, man, and being vulnerable and talking about some things. And everybody, I want to thank you guys for hanging out with us for this hour. And I hope you guys enjoy the new background. That's pretty cool. I find it more subtle and more like calming. It's soothing.
I blend into the mountains with my shirt.
You did. And before we recorded, I told him if we had a blue screen, it would just be a floating head. All right, guys. We're going to go ahead and end this. Much love. And until next time, I'll see you guys later.